What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Tima, and I'm back with another video. As y'all can see by the title, I am about to get kind of personal, but you clicked on the link, so you must want to know. And honestly, I appreciate you clicking. And if you're new, welcome, welcome. I'm here to share my life, and so hopefully it'll help me by speaking my truth, and it'll help you if you just want to know. Okay, so let me say before we jump into the video, if you are a returning subscriber, thank you. Like, for real, thank you. If y'all been on my other social medias, y'all can see I just smashed 100 subscribers. Yes, like that was the goal. We beat it. The new goal is 300. So I'm trying to get to 300 at least by the end of October. And also, don't worry, I'm not going nowhere. We're about to do Vlogtober, so content will be consistent. So yes, make sure you got that notification bell turned on because we'll be back with another video tomorrow. Today is the 30th, which is the last day of September. And as we say goodbye to September, I just felt this would be a good video to, not an introduction, but a little bit of a backstory about me. Because I know the YouTubers that I really like, I like them because we could relate, or they doing something that inspires me, and pretty much I'm interested. Alright, so if you didn't know, yes, I am adopted. You're looking at a person who's adopted. And I turned out okay. So, first, I'm going to tell y'all, for real, I don't even think I knew I was adopted until the 90s. And I was born in 1988. Yeah, I know I'm old. So, I wasn't even going to tell y'all my age, but you know what? Age ain't nothing but a number. So, I'm going to continue with my story. But anyway, so I grew up in the Bronx, New York. In the late 80s was when I was born. So I grew up in the 90s in the Bronx, New York. So my mom and dad, matter of fact, hold up. Mom, family in New York, sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles, and aunts. If y'all watching this, don't come for me in the comments. Call me, text me, you know, let's get personal. Because I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to say how I feel in this video. And if you got a problem with it, call me. All right. So let's start. Okay. So to start it off, I would say my mom told me I was adopted. My mom, as in my adopted mom. That's the only mom I know. So she told me I was adopted like later on in life. I want to say I was like 7, 8. So I can comprehend, but at the same time, I just really didn't even have a lot of questions at that time because it was more so like, you're adopted, I'm your mom, I love you. Boom, we're on to the next part of life. So I never really took the time to question my mom and dad about my other mom and dad. So unfortunately, I don't know those people. I don't even know if my mom and dad knew those people either. All right. But again, don't be on here like, oh, I'm so sorry for you or I feel bad, because I had a great life. And compared to people I know who knew their mom and dad, I had a banging life. Because like, yeah, you might be a little messed up in the head, but I don't know if it's better to grow up with jacked up parents or to not know your parents and have parents that truly love you. But anyway, so let's go back. So I remember my mom telling me I was adopted like maybe a year before we came to Ohio. and we came to Ohio when I was 10. So majority of my life, I didn't know I was adopted. Well, verbally, nobody told me. But I knew. And if you are adopted, leave me a comment and let me know if you knew you was adopted before they told you. Because I don't know how I knew, but I knew. Like something on a daily, like just let me know like you're not really a part of this family. I mean, like I don't want to be, it's really hard to talk about being adopted and not offend anybody, but that's the whole point of speaking your truth is you can say what you want regardless. So if y'all watching this video and you're getting kind of upset, go ahead and click off because it's not even that serious. This is how I feel and my story. But yeah, I never asked my mom about anything because I was scared. I was scared to hurt her feelings. And to this day, even as a grown woman, I get scared to hurt people's feelings. And so that's why I said this channel is about healing, because I'm still healing that inner child in me that needed some understanding and didn't get it. But anyway, so I found out I was adopted a little bit before we moved to Ohio. And it wasn't that big of a deal, I guess, but, or I should say it wasn't treated as a big deal, but it was a big deal. If you think about it, being adopted and, you know, the reality of it is that your birth parents didn't want you or they gave you away, like, that's low-key traumatizing. But as children, we adapt to everything that, honestly, we don't even deal with it till later on in life. And so for the parents who adopt the children, that's great for y'all. But for the children, it's a bit strange. So yes, this is a Q&A. But first, I'm going to give y'all some backstory. And then I'm going to do my Q&A. And if I answer, I'll just won't ask the questions if they already got asked. So yeah, my friends, I told them I was adopted yesterday and they didn't know because like I said, this isn't something that I just go around telling people. So they found out yesterday and they were like, what? They had all these questions and I'm like, that's content. Like, write it down, write it down. So I'm going to answer their questions. And also, if y'all got any questions, comment below because this is just part 1. Because I'm pretty sure it'll be a part 2, maybe even a part 3, because I wouldn't mind finding the people who had me. Even if they in the grave, like, I could at least show some respect for the grave. I don't know, something like that. All right, I'm back, y'all. I had to get something to drink. Like, that first introduction just took a lot out of me. All right, so my earliest memories of being, I guess, a foster kid, because until you get adopted, you're in foster care. So I was in foster care and I didn't even know it because I just thought that was my mom and dad. So to skip ahead, like when I was a teenager, I had went through the stuff my mom had. Yeah, Mom, I'm sorry. But she had a box of paperwork, which I think a lot of moms keep. Me, I don't now. It's all on my phone. But my mom had a box of papers and stuff, and I went through them. And I found my original birth certificate and some other things. So the original birth certificate, as a teenager, when I found it, it had my real mom and dad name on there and my birth name. And so I was just like flabbergasted, like, oh my God. So I went online, started Googling these people, didn't find nothing. And the crazy thing is I kept my original last name, which was Chapman. So I was Shatima Chapman for the majority of my life. Up until 1996, my name was Shatima Chapman. That's it. So I found the paperwork and it had like another mom and her last name, and it had a guy and his last name was Chapman. So I'm like, oh my God. So also in that box, I found these. These are like ID tags. And if you know what these are, comment below, please. Let's connect, because they don't have no type of address on them. They just say American Express. But I remember wearing these. I remember wearing these to... I don't know. I remember wearing these. I don't know if I wore these on visits or if I wore these in the agency. But I thought it was cool. This one says void. So this must have been when I got adopted. So that no longer was used. And this one is pretty much active. Like, I'm super cute. But yeah, so I found those. So I was just like, oh my God. So, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, even when you find out you're adopted, you're still you. So it's just like trying to put together the pieces of how you got to be that person. And most people become that person that they are because their parents raised them. So my mom and dad raised me. So knowing that I had came out of somebody else's body didn't really faze me. And so I wasn't like, oh, I hate you, I need to know who these people are. Like, my mom never experienced that. I never would treat them like that. So even after I found the stuff, like, I was still scared to ask my mom about it because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. So we had already moved out of New York at this time. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if my mom waited for all the adoptions to settle before we moved. And I say all because if y'all know me, I'm one child of 6, and my mom only had 2 kids out of her belly. So yes, there's 4 of us that were adopted. And I remember my sisters and brothers' adoptions, like, and maybe I'll do a video if they want, they can come and we could all sit and talk. If y'all would like to see that, go ahead and let me know below. But yeah, like, I think that's why we moved out of Ohio or stayed in New York so long, because if I was adopted in 1996, I was like about 7 or 8. And then I moved to Ohio when I was 10. So that would make sense because we didn't start getting my other siblings until my adoption was finalized. And so now that I'm thinking about it, it's crazy. It's like you got to be in a little club or something. Like, once the government says you can get kids, then like the floodgates open and you can get a bunch of kids. But anyway, so more backstory before we go into questions. After finding my birth certificate, I lost it. Like, I don't know if my mom found it or I don't know. I lost it. So the crazy thing is too, when you're born in the 80s in New York, which I think if I did my history right, that was like a crack epidemic. So with that being said, and the police, they was worse than they are now. I'm like, I could have just got taken just to be taken. So that's why I'm like, I want to one day figure out who my mom is at least. Because, like, what was you on? What happened? And maybe my dad, because I asked my older sister about my adoption, and she said that my dad, he was always coming to court to try to fight for me, but he was in jail. So, you know, you in jail. They ain't giving no niggas no babies. And it doesn't matter. Like, even if he, you know, had whatever going for me, I still wasn't going to be given to him. Also, my mom, and I remember like vaguely being dropped off at the agency where I had the name tags or whatnot and getting transported someplace else. So my mom was saying these are people who came forward who were saying they were related to me. And if you're related to me, you get more dibs, you get higher priority to get me than my mom, who was, you know, living a good life and just wanted another baby. So I went to go see them. I don't remember at all visiting other people. My mom and them said that they would send me over to see the relatives, and I would come back with dirty clothes, like shit that I didn't even take over there. Like, basically the same situation if you send your kid to your baby daddy house. So it just was crazy. So basically, like, they were just building the case of why I don't even need to be back with those people. So also, on top of like, you know, my mom loving me and wanting to do everything she could for me, we all right, let me go back. So my mom didn't get me from adoption agency per se. I was already a foster child of my mom's really good friend. So this lady, I love her to death. Like, it's just like a crazy and internal spiritual love because I loved her before I even knew that she was my second mom. Like, when my mom would go over there to hang out, because like I told you, I lived a long time before I knew I was adopted. So my mom would take me over there to hang out. Little did I know, I'm hanging out with the lady who first picked me or whatever. And I'm all like, oh, I love it here. Just in rooms, having memories that I thought was fake because I never knew I actually was in that house as a baby. So eventually my mom told me like, yeah, I got you from Naomi, which is my mom's friend, and that I lived in there with all, Naomi had a whole bunch of kids, and I always was like wondering where all these kids came from. And as I got older, my mom told me like Naomi's a foster mom. So Naomi had a bunch of kids, and like I loved her house so much. And it just goes to show like when you're little, certain things will trigger and stick with you. So my mom told me she got me from her when I was like 2 years old. And my mom and my sister, you know, they were like a lot of kids in the house. And we kind of just formed a bond. And so Naomi was like, you know, why don't y'all take her? So as far as being an adopted person, it's so weird being talked about in that manner because it's almost like somebody went to like a puppy shelter and was like, oh, you're beautiful, come on. And like being selected is way different than being given birth to. Because like my children that I have now, you know, God gave me them and I'm so ever grateful. But me to my mom, it's just like I feel like I'm a designer bag, low key. Like I'm the Birkin. But like nah, but just like for real, like I was hand selected to be a part of the family that I now know. So, with that being said, like I'm forever grateful. Okay, but let's go back. So, I'm grateful, but I honestly still would like to know what happened to my real family. And so, well, birth family, we'll put it like that. But my real family is huge. So, birth family. But this is another thing I found in the paperwork. And some people know my mom is very elderly woman. So right now she actually lives in a nursing home. So all her stuff that was in her home is in my home now. So I still have the secret box that's technically mine now. So in the box, I found a form, and I'll just read it to y'all. It says, Family Court of the State of New York, City of New York, County of the Bronx. Certificate of adoption. So yeah, I was born in the Bronx. And it says, I do hereby certify that I have inspected the records of this court in the matter of adoption and find that an order of adoption was signed on the 6th of August, 1996 by Honorable Judge, blah, 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 Family Court of the County of the Bronx, granting the petitioner of Elaine Fergus and David Fergus, that then resides, we used to live in New York, Bronx, New York, for adoption of minor child, now known as Shatima Danielle Fergus, who was born at Brooklyn, New York on April 5th, 1988, and directing that this child shall henceforth be regarded and treated in all respects as the child of the petitioner. So, with that being said, after that date, no family of the Chapmans, whatever, nobody could have access to me legally after that. So, I mean, honestly, my mom told me she got me from Naomi when I was 2. and I got adopted in 1996, so I was like 8. So my birth parents had time to come find me, like more than enough time. So with knowing that, that made me feel like, do I want to waste my time looking for people, or do I just, keep it moving? And that's kind of what I did. I'm not even gonna lie, I kept it moving. And now I'm an adult. And just looking back, I see how keeping it moving affected me in the long run. Okay? Because, like, I definitely should have talked to somebody, and I definitely should ask questions, because now I have questions as a grown up, and I gotta pay for these answers. Cause like honestly, like I looked it up, and like it's a fee to even get my birth records, but thankfully a law passed, and now all the records that like were closed at that time are open. Because also on this letter it says at the bottom, in testimony, I set my hand and affirm the seal of family court. Well, basically, they sealed the records. We'll put it like that. They sealed all the records. And so nobody, even the child, can't figure out their history. And like, thankfully, somebody reversed that. Because, come on now. Why y'all want it to just be lost? It's been bad enough. The majority of us is lost, but if you could help us be found, don't lock it. Don't lock it. So now that I've done my research, I think I might go and unlock those records. I have to go to New York because it costs so much for them to send it. And just to see, because I mean, I want to know. I want to know. I'm not even going to lie. Like, I think my first experience of wanting to know was elementary school. My teacher did a project which was the family tree. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing for adopted children to be forced to do a family tree, and you don't even know anybody on the tree, or you're just making it up. Literally making it up, because that's what I did. I literally made it up. I told my mom, and she was just like, well, here's my mom. Here's this. She didn't even like ask me how I felt, or if I wanted to even tell people I was adopted. It was just, it's a secret. And I understand a lot of people probably think it's a secret and better that way. But from my point of view, I don't think it should be a secret. Like, I'm just programmed that this is a secret from a child. And I'm just, as an adult, learning to speak my truth and be honest about who I am. So, yeah, I just think like if I would have felt comfortable with that from the jump, as being a child that, was given away by her birth parents, I think I might just be more comfortable with a lot of things. So, yeah, I was just saying, be honest. If you feel like you need to voice something to your children, or your children want to speak to you, just say it. All right, I'm using my old phone for the Q&A. Yeah, say it, because you don't want to be old dealing with problems from the past. Like, that's the worst. And let me get these questions ready. I hear my baby coming up the stairs. What's up, boo?
Cereal.
All right, I'll make you cereal. Let me record this. All right, can you go downstairs?
Yes, cereal not working.
All right, go downstairs. I'll be down in a moment.
Okay.
All right, so I might cut that out. I don't know. But the first question my friends had asked, I was going to write it back, but I think I only answered like 2 in the text. So this will be great. The first question my friend asked was, how do you think being adopted has affected you as an adult? Like, how has it affected you and your psyche and your relationships, whether it's with friends or a romantic relationship? All right. So, being adopted the way I was, I feel like it's affected me because I am an extrovert. Like, I want to be with people, but I'm an introvert because I'm scared. Like, I'm scared to show people who I am really, because I'm low-key always wondering if that's who I am. So it's a hindrance with friends because I feel like sometimes I'm putting out a facade, and then it's like, am I protecting myself from people who treat me badly, or am I protecting my real self from myself? So it's really hard for real trying to make a real genuine relationship with a friend or romantic partner because I kind of see myself always dealing with abandonment issues or attachment issues. Like I never really thought about them like seriously, but I seriously do because I will definitely like stay in a relationship for a long time knowing it's shitty. And as far as attachments, like I will definitely hit somebody up knowing that this shit is toxic and we need to end it. So like yeah, like I'm learning now to like detach and accept. So yes, it definitely played a role on me being adopted, but as I'm growing and glowing, I'm getting better at it. I'm getting more in control over my life and what I want. All right, next question. Oh, and also, she told me like, yeah, most people she know who are adopted go through the same thing. And just so y'all know, I don't know anybody who's adopted outside of my family. So if you're adopted and we don't know each other, hey, like we can be friends. Let me know below. And also, all right, let me go down to the next question. All right, question number. Have you ever wanted to meet your birth parents? Yeah, now that I have kids, I do. But when I was younger, I didn't care. Like, I just didn't care because I had parents who already treated me well. But I want to meet them now because I just want to know, like, what I'm going to look like as an adult, well, the old person. And also, I think my kids would like to know, well, I want to know if there's anything in our family, like, as far as diseases. Like, when you have a baby, I think that was, like, maybe the second embarrassing time being adopted, kind of the lights go off, is when you go to the hospital and you have to give, like, the facts on the paperwork of your history. And, like, my baby dad could put all his stuff of his family. And I couldn't put nothing of mine because I don't know. But the good thing with my daughters, everything kind of relates back to me and then the dad. So they don't really have much to worry about. But as far as like cancer, any of that, I don't know if that runs in our family. Like if it happens, God willing, it won't. But we don't have any history records of that. All right. Next question. I haven't met them. She was asking me if I met them, how are they different from my adopted parents, but not that. After you found out you were adopted, did you feel like an outcast? Yeah. Yeah, but I always felt like an outcast because my older brother has about 12 years on me, and my older sister has 10 years on me. And I didn't have any younger siblings at the time. So yeah, I feel like an outcast. And I think my mom knew because after that, we started getting more foster kids. And then after them, my sisters and brothers came that we have now. So, matter of fact, if you watching this, because this is the World Wide Web, I had 2 foster sisters that lived with us for I think a year. Cleo and Chanel. Shout out to Cleo and Chanel. If y'all watching this, I hope y'all living a good life. If y'all, if you see this, hit me up. Because y'all still my family. Blood don't mean nothing to me. All right, the next question is, what was your first thought after finding out? Well, I was young. Like, no disrespect. After finding out, my first thought was like, I was like, I don't know, I was sad and happy at the same time. But I got made fun of because I had an older mom. And so, like, just, like, knowing, like, my real mom wasn't old. It was just, like, a relief. And then just knowing that, like, that little thought in the back of my head that always told me I didn't fit in was not lying to me. It was, like, a sigh of relief. Like, I'm not crazy. All right. Then she said, do you think you have any other siblings from your birth parents? I think so, because I highly doubt back then or even nowadays people were just having one baby and that was it. Most people have a baby they give up, or something happens and they get a new life, and when you get a new life you start over. So yeah, I would think I have siblings. Honestly, I would love to meet them just to see if they look like me. So if your last name Chapman, you was born in Brooklyn, we might be related. All right. Oh, last question, would I meet them? I probably would, as long as they ain't trying to be having their hand out, because a sis ain't got nothing to give. But that was all for the questions they had for me. If y'all have any questions for me, I'll put them in my part 2, because this is for sure part 1. Because like I said, eventually I'm going to find out who birthed me and what happened to them and what happened to me. Because if I wasn't in foster care till I was 2, something had to happen between age 1 to there. So yeah, I'm a grown woman now with children and a new life. So I'm good. But that part of me that passed, it's like a void that is never going to get filled in unless I fill it in. So no matter how much people think they can just move on and bypass stuff, you got to face it. Just because you put it back in that little compartment back here, honey, it's still there. So yeah. But I hope y'all enjoyed my video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe, because I will be back tomorrow with a video, because we're going to be starting Vlogtober. Right now, Naya's on vacation, but when she comes back, she'll be on my tube. So, but this is my channel. She's going to have her own, but she'll be guest starring on my channel. But yes, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm trying to be more transparent. So please don't be offended by my honesty, because it feels really good. You guys have a great day. Thank you for joining the squad.